Hello and welcome to the Sins Review. I'm your host, Jackie Sins. So, you know Jared Leto, right? You know. And of course,
Oh, I'm not gonna kill you. I'm just gonna hurt you. Really, really bad.
yeah, well, I saw Morbius in theaters on April 1st, and yeah, it wasn't a April Fool's whatever. Anyway, oh yeah, that's right. I reviewed another vampire movie last time, Let the Right One In. And I said I probably will review the American adaptation, Let Me In. Well, I didn't really feel like it, so I waited until Morbius was released and saw it instead. So let's talk about it.
You need a doctor?
I am a doctor. If you're gonna run, do it now.
Morbius stars 30 Seconds to Mars frontman Jared Leto as Dr. Michael Morbius, Jared Harris as
Michael's mentor.
Adria Arjona as Dr. Martine Bancroft, and Matt Smith as Luxius.
Now I could have sworn I heard him called Lucian. Michael calls him Milo for some reason, I don't really remember. But the Google results say that the character's name is Luxius Crown and not Lucian. Oops. So Michael, along with others, including Lucian, Luxius, Milo, whatever you want to call him, have a rare blood disorder that leaves the individual fairly weak and virtually immobile without the help of equipment like crutches.
Michael and Milo were bullied as children while undergoing treatment for their condition.
The disease
in
would
England,
have led
I
to an
believe.
early death, except Michael would eventually grow up and become a very brilliant doctor whose research leads to the development of artificial blood as a treatment. However, it doesn't do anything to fix the problems of, weak motor functions like walking and such.
Michael continues his research at his lab in New York City and theorizes that synthesizing human DNA with bat
With the
DNA will
assistance
cure
of
these
Dr.
particular
Bancroft,
ailments.
Michael is able to develop a serum which he tests on a rat, which yields a positive result.
He then decides to have this serum
This is, of
tested on
course,
himself.
top secret shit, and not entirely legal. So apparently they had to rent out a mercenary ship to perform the test. Of course, if you're familiar with the Marvel Comics character Morbius, he ends up becoming a bloodthirsty creature of the night. Well, to put it simply, he's like a vampire, who relies on blood and plasma or whatever. But in this movie, he's actually not harmed by sunlight. So he's kind of like me. Except a lot prettier looking. Shortly after the unfortunate incident at the test site, Michael returns to his lab in New York to perform tests on himself to try to understand what the serum has done to him. As we've seen in the trailers, he has all these extra special powers: increased speed, strength, and agility. He even has developed this sort of bat sonar to amplify his hearing. Michael deduces that he needs blood to maintain his newfound strength and pretty much his life in general. The artificial blood seems to do the trick, but eventually it will stop working and he will go after human blood and he won't be able to stop himself. So I don't really have much to say about this movie. I remember Morbius appearing in like a few incarnations of Spider-Man, like some of the comics. I think the first time I saw him was in the Spider-Man animated series from the 90s, I think. And yeah, and it was kind of different because I think I heard in the comics, like, he was pretty much a regular vampire, but like that was back in like the 60s or the 80s or some shit like that. I haven't followed like all of the Spider-Man comics. I have read a few, like the Ultimate Spider-Man, and there's just a lot of other incarnations. But I remember in the animated series, instead of like using his fangs to, bite into people's necks and drink their blood, he like had some kind of physical mechanism or something like in his hand, which he used to siphon like plasma from the individual. And I'm pretty sure that's because, I guess since it was on like the ABC channel or something, they thought, it was something that they had intended for children to watch. But they thought, a vampire, digging his fangs into people's necks was not appropriate for kids or something. I don't know. But I think I remember seeing that in some of the comics as well. Again, haven't really followed them too consistently, really, but, and, he's been represented as the villain, but sometimes as an anti-hero. In this movie, he's definitely an anti-hero. So what did I like about this particular movie? It was moderately entertaining. Definitely have some atmosphere and was very much on the spooky side. I didn't really like that this movie was rated PG-13, and there's so many like instances of, in action scenes where he's, there would be a lot of blood sprayed everywhere, like when he slashes someone's throat, or when he, actually does bite people on the neck. It just realistically, there would be a lot more blood than that. So it just feels too tame for me. Also didn't like the lack of character development, and I understand that, we have to have like a limited amount of main characters, like usually 3 or 4 or something like that, so that the audience isn't like super overwhelmed. But I'm still very disappointed that, a lot of the supporting characters don't have that much screen time. I mean, at least in terms of making them at least kind of memorable. I mean, I don't even remember the name of Michael's mentor, played by Jared Harris, and apparently Google didn't even catch it. So there's like not even a real name to attach to this character, and yeah, that's kind of annoying.
Okay, so I wasn't all that impressed by this movie. I don't hate it, but it
I give
definitely could have been a
Morbius
whole lot
and
better.
like I half an N out of Sins. I don't know. I didn't want to give it a super shitty rating. Anyway, this has been the Sins review. I'm Jackie Sins, and honestly, I don't know why I'm drinking this stuff. I usually always drink animal blood.